The Zephyrian High Command had thought themselves clever when they designed the isolation chambers aboard the Nexus Prime. The sterile white cubes, each measuring precisely 3 meters by 3 meters by 3 meters, had broken the minds of countless prisoners from dozens of species across the galaxy. The silence was absolute. The walls featureless, and the complete sensory deprivation could reduce even the most hardened criminals to gibbering wrecks within days. Commander Vextar's mandibles clicked with satisfaction as he watched the security feeds. The human designation Marcus Chen sat cross-legged in the center of Cell 47 Alpha, eyes closed, breathing steady. The Terran had been convicted of destroying a Zephyrian mining facility and liberating 300 enslaved colonists. His crime warranted execution, but High Command wanted information first, the locations of other human resistance cells. "How long do you estimate before he breaks?" asked Sub-Commander Krillnex, her secondary arms twitching with nervous energy. Vextar consulted his datapad. The Altarian lasted 36 hours. The Centaurian barely made it to 20. Humans are primitive emotional creatures. I give this one 18 hours, perhaps less. They were wrong. After 6 hours, Marcus remained motionless, appearing to be in some form of meditation. The guards exchanged confused glances. Most prisoners would have begun pacing, scratching at walls or crying by now. After 12 hours, something changed. Marcus opened his eyes and smiled, actually smiled at the blank wall before him. Then he began to speak. "Day 1 of involuntary meditation retreat," he said cheerfully to the empty air. "You know, I haven't had this much uninterrupted thinking time since I was a kid sick with the flu. Let's see, where to start?" The guards in the monitoring station leaned forward, straining to hear every word. "I guess I'll begin with my childhood. There was this dog we had, Sergeant Patches, named him after the eye patch marking on his face." Marcus launched into what could only be described as an autobiography, complete with detailed descriptions, emotional commentary, and occasional bursts of laughter at his own memories. By hour 18, Vextar's confidence had evaporated. Marcus had moved through his entire childhood, adolescence, and early military career. He was now recounting in vivid detail every single battle he'd fought in the Tau Ceti campaign. "The plasma burns were extensive," Marcus was saying, gesturing animatedly to an imaginary audience. "But Johnson, crazy bastard, he just kept firing while medics tried to patch him up. Blood everywhere, but he was laughing. Actually laughing. You had to respect that level of—" "Turn off the audio," Vexitar ordered. "Sir?" Krillnex's antennae drooped in confusion. "Turn it off. I cannot concentrate with his incessant chattering." But even with the sound disabled, Marcus continued talking. The security camera showed him standing now, pacing the small space using elaborate hand gestures, occasionally stopping to draw diagrams on the walls with his finger, as if teaching an invisible class. Hour 24 arrived. Marcus transitioned seamlessly from war stories to detailed explanations of human literature. He recited entire poems from memory, provided literary analysis of ancient Earth novels, and even began composing original verse. "The stellar winds carry whispers of home," he declared to the ceiling, "across the void where courage roams." Several guards in the monitoring station had started drinking heavily. By hour 36, Marcus had exhausted literature and moved on to mathematics. He was working through advanced calculus problems in his head, writing equations in the air, and explaining each step aloud as if teaching a university course. "Now, if we integrate this function from 0 to infinity," he said, sketching invisible symbols, "we get a beautiful convergence that demonstrates the elegant relationship between—" Guard Captain Thalrex slammed his 6 fists on the control panel. "Make him stop!" Vextar's eye stalks had developed a nervous twitch. "He's been talking for 36 hours straight. How is this possible?" "Sir," Krillnex reported shakily, "medical scans show he's entered some sort of flow state. His brain activity is unlike anything we've recorded. It's as if the isolation is energizing him." Hour 48 brought a new horror. Marcus had completed his mathematical odyssey and discovered something that chilled the watching guards to their cores. He was enjoying himself. "This is fantastic," he exclaimed, stretching his arms above his head. "Do you know how long it's been since I had time to really think, to organize my thoughts, to work through problems without interruption?" He sat back down, grinning widely. Okay, next up. I'm going to design the perfect starship from scratch. Let's start with hull configuration. The guards began filing formal complaints. The overnight shift refused to monitor Cell 47 Alpha. Even the automated systems seemed to develop glitches whenever Marcus launched into another enthusiastic monologue about propulsion theory. Hour 60 arrived with Marcus designing fictional alien societies, complete with detailed cultural anthropology, economic systems, and philosophical frameworks. He had created 17 distinct civilizations and was working on diplomatic relationships between them. The crystalline collective would never ally with the void swimmers, he explained earnestly to the camera, because their base assumptions about consciousness are fundamentally incompatible. However, they might find common ground in their shared appreciation for geometric art, forms. Vextar found himself in the unprecedented position of having his guards, hardened veterans who had witnessed the destruction of worlds, come to him in tears, begging for reassignment. He won't stop, whispered Guard Sergeant McDoon, all three of his eyes wide with terror. He just keeps going. And going. And the enthusiasm by the ancestors, the enthusiasm. How can anyone be that excited about crop rotation patterns on theoretical agrarian worlds? Hour 72 brought the breaking point. Marcus had moved on to composing symphonies, humming complex melodies while conducting an invisible orchestra. The sound, even through the dampened speakers, had an oddly hypnotic quality that was driving the monitoring staff toward nervous breakdowns. Sub-Commander Krillnex approached Vextar's desk with trembling secondary arms. Sir, I formally request that we release the human immediately. On what grounds? Cruel and unusual punishment? To the guards. Vextar's mandibles sagged in defeat. In 72 hours, the human had not only failed to break, but had somehow weaponized his own contentment. Marcus Chen had turned solitary confinement into a personal renaissance, and his enthusiastic narration of every thought was slowly driving the entire security staff insane. Release him, Vextar ordered quietly. As the cell door opened, Marcus looked up with genuine disappointment. Oh, already? I was just getting to the good part of my economic analysis of post-scarcity societies. Are you sure we can't? Get out! Screamed every guard within earshot. Marcus shrugged good-naturedly and walked toward the exit, humming one of his newly composed melodies. Just before leaving, he turned back with a bright smile. Thanks for the thinking time. Same time tomorrow? The sound of 20 guards fainting simultaneously echoed through the corridor as Marcus strolled away, already planning his next mental adventure.